welcome to another episode of Houston Art Tribe. I am Kay Sarver, and I'm sitting here with Joan Laughlin in her studio in Mother Dog Studios, and it's really wonderful to be here.
Yeah, it's a great place.
How long have you been here?
I just moved in June. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like I just moved in. I've been here for a while, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I wondered because, I think the very first time I really saw your work was in Sawyer Yards, I believe.
Yeah, at the silos. I still have my cards still.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. I remember just drooling, looking at these amazing paintings, thinking, oh, my goodness. I wanted to ask you, I think I missed both of these. I think you had a show at the Young Center.
That was in the fall of 2015.
Okay.
And then 2 years later, I had a show at the Galveston Arts Center.
Oh, yeah.
Which feels like it was just yesterday, but now it's like 2019.
I know.
Yeah.
It's amazing how fast the time goes.
Yeah.
And I know I had a show opening that same fall,
Yeah.
so I think that's why
a busy time.
But your subject matter, talk about what inspired you
to do this work.
Yeah.
Well, I think I started this body of work back in 2011, and there wasn't really any one idea, one thing that caused me to start doing it. I had just taken a bunch of photographs I went on a trip to Ireland, and for some reason I couldn't stop photographing the trees. Have you?
Yes. No, I haven't been to Ireland, but
I don't know why. I mean, if they were different kinds of trees, but they just seemed so old, and I don't know. They just had such a presence, and I could literally over half my photographs from that trip were trees, and I just kept photographing them, and then I came home, and I just I just decided it would be good subject matter, so I started working on them, and I did, several works, and then sometime around that time, my dad got diagnosed with dementia, and then later Alzheimer's. Yeah. And then as I was doing these little, the trees and the biomass and stuff, and I was reading about Alzheimer's, and it's the neurons and the tangles, and so there seemed to be some connection to that.
Yeah.
And although it wasn't really conscious at the time.
Yeah.
But like you, I love going to the Arboretum. So I would go for walks. And I don't really know. I mean, I know there's some people that just know exactly why they're doing what they're doing, but I don't know. I love the natural world, and it's just.
Oh, I love that you say
more intuitive, or
my
interest, I think.
I do think it's a real primal thing that's ingrained in all of us, but I think it's easier for people to forget that connection when we're all in this concrete and.
Right. Yeah. Maybe it's because I live in Houston, in the city, inside the loop. I'm in this urban environment, so maybe it might be something about when you are in nature, just kind of being fascinated. And
true.
I don't know.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, I love that you went there, and I'm amazed. They must take forever to do.
They do, and that's kind of a problem. They do. They do take a long time, but it's a very meditative process to do.
Yeah.
Because really, when you're working on stuff where you're trying to make it realistic like that, it's actually very abstract. You're just focusing on the little line or the shadow, and it's different shapes and lines that are kind of coming together that then eventually make So, and I teach drawing also. So when I teach drawing, I'm always telling students, forget about what you're drawing, just look at the line, look at the shadows, look at the shapes. So that's how it is when I think you're drawing something really realistic. But they do take a long time.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, it's interesting you say that, because I think the first, I don't know, maybe you had some drawings in your studio at that time on the wall, but it might have been they were all paintings.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of that, when I first saw them, I thought, are those graphite? And then when I got up closer, do you use oils, or do you?
They are oil, and even though I'm using painting, I think they really are more related to drawing than they are to painting.
I see that. I do.
Because it's, when I was in art, when I studied art at studio a long time ago as an undergraduate. I loved my drawing. I love drawing classes much more than painting classes, and so, but you have to major in either painting or sculpture.
Yes, true.
So, but they're really more drawings, I think.
Yeah,
a lot of people call them drawings. Yeah.
I actually thought that at first.
Yeah.
And I love how you know what I think? They really pull in, or at least for me, the viewer. It helps you to see what many of us don't notice.
Yeah.
And I find that really relevant.
Today.
Today.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially today.
I know. Things are so crazy. Sometimes it is just nice to just sit and focus on the natural world.
Yeah, no kidding. It just really is nice that you do that. I noticed that some of them you sort of do what reminds me of like you do the painting in an oval shape or
like these.
To focus in on an area, sort
I don't
of.
know what I was thinking of when I did that. Now these, the ones that are smaller, I was making those for a show, for the Galveston Art Center, and then about a month before that I was in this group show at the Rockport Art Center. So I had to make a lot of work like within a year, and they take so long, so I was thinking if I just make circles.
No, I love that though, because it's sort of somewhere between reminding me of an old photograph, the way they were matted, but also
that is definitely, especially with this one right behind you, the oval. I was thinking of because really there's the black and white. So I have all of these in my house, all of these old black and white photos of my ancestors, and so I was kind of thinking about that. Yeah. So I was definitely referencing that in some of these with the oval, and
it's an interesting thing that organic shape around But so the title of the show in Galveston was
Entanglement. Yes.
Okay.
I'm really bad with titles. How are you with titles?
I'm still struggling with that myself. And I need to write something soon. But so I know.
That was really hard to come up with. I think the first title I had, I told Dennis, and he was kind of like what?
He's good to reflect on.
He's so nice, he's so nice, but I could tell he was kind of like, I don't know, like what, why that title? And then I was just like, okay, Entanglement, because they are tangles, and that was easy.
No, it's good. Yeah. It's actually very good, and especially from what you said about your father. It does seem to be like that with Alzheimer's, sort of feeling like it is a tangled.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's how they describe it. Is you have tangles around the neuron, so kind of refers to more than one thing, and there's an emotional entanglement, and different stuff. But how do you come up with titles for your work? Is it just something that pops into your head?
I think that's a real good issue because sometimes, like with my show at Lawndale, it was Studio Junkies. That was easy for me because I feel like we're all junkies when we're in the studio.
Right.
We're just. But I also had put underneath it something beautiful, and Dennis reflected, too, as what do you mean something beautiful? And I was like, we can drop it. Let's drop it.
Have you ever titled something and then 3 years later looked at it and thought,
what was that? Yes, this is good because
it's really hard to come up with titles. But there are some people who are just very focused. They know exactly, and I'm just not. I'm more intuitive. I'm just. I'm not one of those people.
Totally relate. Do you have that issue also with naming each piece, or do you find?
Yes.
Yeah. I would think that would be. And yet, I don't know. I don't think it's a bad thing to say untitled, but. It always leaves me feeling like I wanted a little more direction from the artist.
When I'm looking at the work, I kind of want, but
something.
Then, you kind of need a little prompt to figure out. But that's really hard, titling, and artist statements.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I know Joan had contacted me at some point, and she was discussing the idea of us doing maybe a panel discussion or a round table, which we will do, I think, because, these topics come up and we're all like, what do you think about this? This is a problem right now, or even more locally, some of these
Right.
issues. But I love that idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's really hard. I've taught for so many years, and you've got to write an artist statement, and I feel such a hypocrite because when it comes to me having to write one, I think, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? I don't know. I made a painting. That's what I have to say.
Yeah.
I know,
and I think there's that fine line between. It's a visual communication.
It is.
So why do I need to
put it into words?
Yeah.
And I find that whenever I do, it doesn't. I don't know.
Well, when I read your statement on your website, which is a
Yeah.
really nice website, and I thought it made perfect sense because you got into, the feelings behind, why this makes sense for you to be doing.
Yeah.
And I just love that. That's the kind of stuff I want to see.
Right. And that's a long artist statement, but when you apply for things, they oftentimes want you to just put it down into a paragraph. Which is hard.
That's hard. I think the shorter ones are
really
even harder. It's like, let me sum this up,
Yeah.
I think this is why I'm doing this.
I don't know why I'm doing this.
Really, until just now, I didn't know why I was doing this.
Which is something that, it is something that comes up a lot.
It is.
Why do I feel the need to do this?
I agree. I so
like we were
agree.
talking about, there's so many artists right now. It's so competitive in Houston.
It is.
And I'm thinking, why am I still doing this? And I
know. Well, I've heard, a number of people in the art world say, not just the Houston community, that you better really love this, because if you're expecting much more out of it than just the making of it, you might find it very discouraging to do. So, I guess if I erase all the concerns, sometimes somehow it really helps me. But I agree with you, you wonder, what in the world am I doing? And I'm not getting younger. And so, so I really.
But I love making them, I must say. Do you feel that way about your work, that you just love making it?
Yes, not all of them. I tend to be one of these artists that wants to experiment and change maybe a little too much.
Yeah.
But it's partly because I realize I need to stretch myself.
Yeah, that's good.
And there are times when I'm thinking, well, all right, you're in the groove, this feels right.
Right.
But the need to stretch myself means that I probably haven't practiced enough regularly.
Right.
And I just fall out of sync with it. Do you find?
So you feel like, I do, after I don't know if this is the same, but I feel like the need to do something different.
Yeah.
This is stuff, I've started kind of a new body of work. Because, which isn't in here because I'm not quite, ready.
There.
But
Yeah.
stretching yourself, at a certain point you feel like, okay, I need to do something a little bit different. And how can I take this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when you.
That's what keeps it interesting.
It does keep it interesting.
Keeps you making it.
It's true, and I think again I have to eliminate all those fears about you may you only have this much time to live, you're a woman, you're this, you're that. It's that inner critic can pop up. Yeah. But no, it's important. But these are just absolutely marvelous, and
Thank you.
have you most of them? Have you ever done any larger pieces, or is that
not in this style? Not in this style.
Yeah.
I did do a couple of larger pieces, but they take so long. My husband kept thinking, I think it would be really good if you could just make something really big, and that would really. But it would take forever.
It's such an effort, isn't it?
Yeah.
That would be.
And then the space, you think
True.
But one of these days I'm going to.
Well, and this is a really great space. And you have a window in here too.
I have a great space. I almost think maybe I could spend, a year working on one piece.
I think this is good.
I don't have the pressure to, to do anything. So maybe one of these days, who knows?
Yeah.
Now I'm working on really little pieces, so.
Oh, I like that. It's because especially the kind of detail you do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's where you're still in the detail, but
Yeah.
it will just make you focus on an area. pull you in.
Yeah, well, a lot of people have said that the works feel very quiet. So I feel like there's something kind of like private about them. So I like, so most of the new ones are kind of like these sizes. So I kind of feel like there's something that you have to actually pause and look at them.
I love that side. Yeah, no, those are wonderful.
But
oh,
yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah,
I mean, you never know where your
and I do
practice is going
love
to take you.
that you said that I don't always know why I'm doing it, and I see that as a commonality with some of these other artists I've spoken with. Not all of them. Some seem to know exactly
Right.
where they're going, and that's good too. But most of them seem to say, you know, it reveals something to them in the process, and I think that's part of the natural process of creating.
Is that you learn something?
You're learning something.
Yeah, is that you learn something by the time you get to the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes like a year later I'll realize why, have a better understanding. But no, I really believe in using your intuition and going with what you're drawn to, and you don't always understand. You don't have to understand.
No.
No. I kind of feel like sometimes we. In schools these days, you have to always know and have clear thinking and blah, blah, blah. And I don't think that's the artistic process.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, I think you just kind of have to follow your I don't know, that intuition, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that the word? Yeah.
No, that makes such sense.
Yeah.
And the fact that you are an educator, you've seen this unfold with students and yourself, and probably helped them to guide them a bit in their process. I mean, that's
hopefully.
I'm sure. I suspect so.
How do you come up with your subject matter? I mean, you just.
Well, even like the series I'm working on now, I didn't know why I was. I'm just sort of painting these things in my everyday life, with me sort of partly in it in some way or another. And I'm like, what are you doing? I don't even do self-portrait. I've done 2 in my life that I can think of.
Yeah.
And, but.
Portraiture seems to be very popular these days.
Yeah, it's true.
It seems like there's a big interest in portraits.
There are certainly some local artists that are doing some great
really interesting
portraiture.
Stuff. Yeah.
I think we're just really fascinated with the human emotion.
We're living in such crazy times right now.
Gosh,
and it's how it's affecting all of us, and just.
I think that's partly it. It was like a meditative process for me to focus on simple things. Just don't try to get political or whatever. Just what makes you feel relaxed or comfortable, or it's some sort of comfy feel. Yeah.
I think that's why I continue to make my work. It's just because it is that, when you have those hours in the studio by yourself, it's just kind of, it really is a break from this crazy world that we're living in right now. Turn off the computer, the TV and all that, and just kind of focus on something
And I really
else.
think it translates in your work, because I find myself falling into that world and seeing the things that I love about that world.
Yeah.
And I'm that odd person that takes photos of the ground with, the leaves and the twigs and the way they fall, and you really.
Well, I first started this kind of thing where I was photographing the ground and stuff when I went on this hiking trip in New Hampshire. Have you ever been to New Hampshire?
No.
Oh my God,
no.
I had not. My husband grew up there, and so he used to go hiking. Or not grew up there, but he grew up in that part of the country.
Yeah.
So went hiking in the forest of New Hampshire, and it was just incredible.
I bet it was.
Oh my God, the forest floor and just all of this. It was incredible. So like you, again, I found myself not really knowing why, but photographing the ground.
All the little
and
worlds
the
in there.
decomposing trees and the bugs, and it was just so fascinating to me.
I grew up in Ohio, and so we had a woods behind our house. So as a child, I was always out in the woods, and even in snow, I'd go out there in the quiet stillness of the. So your paintings just really sink in for me. And I think they're needed. I think this is something.
Maybe it's a longing, I don't know, to get closer to that.
I think so, and I think it's more collective than we realize, that need.
Well, it was interesting because I started this the summer of the drought in Houston.
Yeah,
and
that was awful.
And so, I started doing this and I was kind of thinking, well, that's interesting, we lost all those trees.
Yeah.
And then I started hearing about other artists in Houston that all of a sudden started painting trees. And we weren't speaking to each other.
Yeah.
But it does seem to be
Yes.
collective, that there was something
Yeah.
that people were thinking about our natural world. And
That's so true. Yeah, you can see that. That is really
kind of like with the portraiture. It seems like people are really interested in portraiture. And then, I don't know. Kind of
seeing
comes up like
those. I know. No, it's a good observation because I agree with you. I've seen some really great ones. Some of them that I've done in this video series. I just love what they're doing.
Yeah.
Focusing, Kathy Drago, focusing on
I love that work.
older women. Oh my God, me too. And I hate to even use the word older women. What does it mean? I know that's me, but because they're kind of invisible, and she empowers them. You know?
I see them as celebrations of life.
Yes.
You see them, and you see their stories, and you see these feisty spirits, and it's like a celebration of life.
It is. It is. No, and you brought up Sarah Fisher too, which I've been watching her. There's many. I mean, you just couldn't possibly name, but
But your portrait series too.
Well,
the Studio Junkies. I love how you did that.
It's fun, that was fun because again, I was inspired to do that just like I was inspired to do this.
Yeah.
This project of talking with other artists.
Yeah.
Because going into your studio and feeling the energy of that, and when the artist is there, they're in a certain comfort level. This is their place where that spark of creativity happens, and you can feel that. I think
it's a great way to have an opportunity to talk to artists.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a few sort of say, we could meet at, because some of them had shows.
Yeah.
We could meet at the space where they're showing, and I was like, and I love that idea. Except that I kind of love.
It's more
where you create, and I can even go and film there and then come, at some point. But
I think people always want to see the studio.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It's just another part of what's behind that creative process.
Yeah. I'm kind of like starting a new body of work.
I totally
I'm
get
beginning to, after I did this, I'm beginning to incorporate color into my work.
Oh,
so
that
I'm
would be
doing
interesting.
something a little bit different. But I've just started it, so I'm not really quite sure about it yet.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I mean, I realized, I don't know why, I really like doing the monochromatic, the black and white thing, but, I love color, which I don't think a lot of people would even realize, and I really miss.
You miss it.
Working
so you
with
need
color, and so that's my new work is a little bit of color.
A little bit of color. And speaking of color, these look to be the same shade that you use throughout. I mean,
it's Van Dyke brown.
I love that color.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. It's brown. I mean, I was thinking of very much the earth and
no, that makes sense.
I didn't want it to be completely black, but
they're not as harsh as black. They've got that warm quality to them.
It looks like the color of the wood and
it totally does. Totally does.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I guess we'll just wrap it up. And,
thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
I am so glad.
I love your series. I think it's very needed, and it is inspiring to hear how other artists think and work.
Well, thank you. I find it to be for myself. So I'm hoping by sharing it, and thanks to the viewers for watching, and please like and subscribe, and we will be signing off. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.